How is it going, everyone? Got quite the story to talk about, as this has been getting a lot of traction, and it looks like the PlayStation 5 is dealing with another security issue. Now, this one isn't a network security issue. When we have talked about security issues in regards to PlayStation, a lot of the times it is relevant to the PlayStation Network and online functionality and online going down, etc., etc. This one is at the console level and may actually streamline being able to jailbreak the PlayStation 5. And best of all, however you want to perceive that the situation, Sony can't really do anything about it as far as the existing PlayStation 5 consoles that have already been manufactured. Now, going forward, they're probably going to adjust the manufacturing of subsequent PS5s, but the ones that are out in the market, I mean, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna send back your PS5? We gotta fix it. But let's go into the story. Tom's Hardware has a lengthy post on it. The PlayStation 5's ROM keys have allegedly been leaked, meaning anyone who can get their hands on the hex strings now has the hardware code that will allow jailbreakers to try decrypting and analyzing the console's bootloader. According to the Cybersec guru, this is an unpatchable problem for Sony because these keys cannot be changed and they are directly burned into the APU of the console. This is the console itself, so Sony can't do anything as far as doing an online patch or, updating stability. That ain't gonna work here, buddy. The only way that the company can invalidate the leak codes is to replace the chips on yet-to-be manufactured units, meaning consoles that are already in the wild could possibly be taken advantage of future jailbreaks stemming from the use of leaked codes. When you turn on the PlayStation 5, its CPU runs the boot ROM code that's baked into the chip and uses the ROM keys to ensure the bootloader is valid. Now that the ROM keys have been leaked, and assuming that those ROM keys are valid, a hacker could then decrypt and study the official bootloader and potentially use that as a starting point to understand how the PS5's boot system works. This is at a hardware level again. It's not at a level where Sony is going to be able to just drop an update and fix everything. Now, it's probably going to take a while for PlayStation 5s to get jailbroken and regularly being available. However, the appearance of these codes may make the biggest security features of the console has already been compromised. It's going to make it a lot easier creating custom firmware to have a deeper understanding of how these consoles work and use that knowledge to build a modified operating system for the console. I would love to see, the PlayStation 5. This is just, for my own selfish desires. I would love to see the PlayStation 5 get jailbroken and people figuring out how to run an absolutely functioning, totally perfect, that's the keyword, totally perfect PlayStation 3 emulator on here. And I don't know the viability of that. To be honest, PlayStation 3 emulation, even on higher-end PCs, still have their issues, but hopefully they can figure it out. Dude, I'm just desperate for PlayStation 3 emulation on PlayStation 5. I don't know if you guys have realized. The idea of jailbreaking the consoles and then also being able to load up, pirated games and things of that nature, obviously that would be the biggest worry. I still do believe, people are gonna make this to be a big story. I think overall, the amount of people that care about something like this, I just think is so minuscule in the sense of, this actually having a direct impact in terms of PlayStation software sales and things of that nature. The amount of people that ultimately will take advantage of something like this, I think is so minuscule, but I think people doing cool stuff with the PlayStation 5, obviously, this is great. This is great. It's gonna be a small portion of people that take advantage of it, but having the platform be more open, I think is going to be great, and people doing what they want with the platform and figuring out how to optimize the platform. And I think in a couple of years, if this leads to jailbreaking being easier, that'll lead to a lot of cool stuff. I still remember, when I got into custom firmware, it was absolutely just on the PSP. The PlayStation Portable and custom firmware back in the day blew my mind. And I know if you were around my age, the idea of having a PSP, adding custom firmware on it, and then being able to emulate all these classic games. When I, for the first time, booted up Mega Man Battle Network on a custom firmware PSP, you guys don't even know. My mind was absolutely blown. I'm like, what reality am I living in? And this was, back in 2008, 2009, so in that era, to me, as a wee lad, that was crazy. But for what you can do with the PlayStation 5, obviously, orders of magnitude higher. but we'll see what they can ultimately do with the PlayStation 5. If I was Sony, I'm sure that they are going to have a little bit of a meltdown over this, and I'm sure they'll be thinking about how what they could do to counter this, but at the same time, is it really going to impact their bottom line whatsoever? First of all, the amount of people that are going to utilize something like this is so small. Second of all, you are going to, if you are just playing video games, you're going to probably want to have some sort of online connectivity, and when you're talking about consoles getting jailbroken, I know that there are jailbroken consoles and handhelds that can connect to online and have online functionality. I just don't know if people would be open to taking that risk. And again, you're talking about such a small sample size that even if people are going to take that risk ultimately of jailbroken consoles taking games online, is it really going to make a drastic impact to the PlayStation 5, which is already probably closer to the latter half of its life, given that PlayStation 6 was rumored to come out in 2027, 2028, although that might be pushed back, and obviously the PlayStation 5 will persist even after that. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the PlayStation 5 is around until 2032, 2033, or even beyond that, because there's just going to be people that are going to stick with that console. The necessity to upgrade to a PlayStation 6, I don't think is really there. Maybe it will be in a couple of years, but just looking at it in a couple of years, dude, these consoles are still going to run really well. There's still people on the PlayStation 4. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 dropped on the PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 4 came out in 2013, so 12 years after the PS5 coming out, that'll be 2032, and I don't think, you know, I think the PS5 is gonna have a longer shelf life, but I digress. ROM keys have been leaked. I know that this is a big story, and for hacking, custom firmware, things of that nature, it's gonna open the floodgates even more. From a Sony vantage point, I just don't think it's something that they should be absolutely bugging out about. It is what it is. Adjust the console if you do want to, and if you don't, even if you don't adjust the consoles and you just continue manufacturing them as is, I don't think it's going to be the biggest deal in the world. Bear in mind that Nintendo had a major leak. Now, the Nintendo situation is a little bit different, where Nintendo has their own console that is relevant in the Nintendo Switch. We're talking about the Switch 1. When that is hacked and people are dumping files online and people are creating emulators of the Nintendo Switch, you know, that is something that is directly impacting the Switch, in the sense of people are able to play the games that are coming out on PC without buying a Nintendo Switch and then also not buying the game. I would absolutely melt out if all of a sudden there's a PlayStation 5 emulator and people are dumping Wolverine and you're able to play Wolverine sometimes even before the game officially comes out. That's what was happening with Nintendo. I think the Nintendo situation with emulation, I could kind of understand why they're like, oh my god, this is terrible from their vantage point, though. I love Nintendo Switch emulation. It's phenomenal. I would never do it, of course, though. I would never do it, but, you know, it is incredible in the sense of upgrading a lot of those games, having them run at better performance resolution. But PlayStation isn't going to deal with that, but I can totally understand why from Nintendo's vantage point, they look at something like Yuzu and they're like, oh my god, I just don't think PlayStation has that level of worry right now. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Does this interest you at all? Have you ever used a custom firmware console or handheld? I mean, again, the PSP was my jam, and also playing like Legend of Dragoon back in the day. Now Legend of Dragoon is available, just straight emulation on the PlayStation Store, but back in the day, loading up Legend of Dragoon, Xenogears on the PSP, oh man, those were the days. I look back fondly at those times. The PSP was such a killer platform with custom firmware, but that's gonna do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, sound off there. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.